I want to just talk a little bit about anxiety. So many of us are feeling anxious. And if you've labeled yourself, I have anxiety. First of all, if you can just think of it as I'm a human being who is experiencing anxiety. And then think about where anxiety comes from. It's fear of the future, right? So, what if you were able to change your perspective and thinking about the future instead of seeing it as something that needs to be feared? Or can I change my perspective and see the future as something that has yet unknown possibilities? So we have a choice in our perspective. Now, our perspective relies heavily on the story that we're living in, right? If you look at a picture of yourself when you were 3 years old with blonde hair and blue eyes, there was no anxiety. So who we are we are not an anxious person. We are a human experiencing the feeling of anxiety. So keeping that in mind, whatever environment we grew up in, whatever influences around us, contribute to our image of ourselves. And so underneath that anxiety may be a thought of, I can't cope with the future. I don't know what's ahead, and I probably can't cope with it because I'm not capable, and I'm not good enough, and I'm not worthy. There's the underlying cause for the anxiety and why the future causes fear. Now again, if you look at that 3-year-old image of yourself, is it true, as Brene Brown would say, is it 100% true that you are not worthy or that you are not good enough? That little 3-year-old being absolutely is good enough just the way he is, absolutely is worthy because he's here. When a baby is born, they have worth because they're here. That doesn't change. Throughout our lives, we have worth and we are enough. What changes is the story that we live in, that we've created predominantly to survive and stay alive in the environment we live in. But just for an example, what if we work on changing our perspective? And what if I made a mistake at my job yesterday? And oh man, it was a pretty big mistake. And I blew it. I knew I shouldn't have taken this job. I knew it's too much for me. And now I'm terrified to meet with a client tomorrow because I can't do it. I know I can't do it. I'm going to blow it again. That's one perspective, right? Another perspective might be, wow, I made a mistake with a client today. Mistakes are how I learn. So I'm a little concerned that I have a client tomorrow, but if I learn from the mistake I made, at least I won't make the same mistake tomorrow. I might make a new one. But that's how I learn. And then a third perspective might be, oh man, I made a big mistake with a client today. What a great opportunity for me to learn and get better at my craft. And I can't wait to meet with a client tomorrow and put my new information to use. Now there's no anxiety. So just by changing the way I looked at something and the information I gave myself about it or the story I created about it completely eradicated any anxiety. And I'm not saying that this is like a snap of the fingers, but every day, if we practice finding a situation that is uncomfortable for us and pausing and taking a moment to look at it from a different perspective, how that changes the way our body feels inside, the way our breathing feels, the way our heart rate feels, the way our nervous system feels. So I hope this is something interesting and you give it a try.